Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to take a look at the Corsair 6500. Now I have the X version, which is the airflow version, but they do have a model of this that comes with, well, two models actually, with a glass front instead of this mesh version. So you can have one that's all lovely, pretty lovely, and show everything off inside more, or you can add more airflow. It's completely up to you. Now the base models with no fans are 179 of your Great British beer tokens. I'm not sure what it relates to with the fantastic dollar, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Both of the models without fans are that money. Goes up to 250 if you want the RGB model anyway. But I'm going to suggest that if you're going to buy the RGB one, you're then going to want to match all the fans in it anyway. So you're probably better off buying the base model and then upgrading. But it's completely up to you. So it gets quite expensive when you talk about the 250. So that's why I think you're probably better off starting off with the lower one and then getting exactly what you want and them all matching. Other side of things are, it feels quite similar to some other cases that are out there. We obviously do have the Lanley 011, few iterations, things like the H9, just to name two. It could go on quite a bit. So it feels like this is a bit late from Corsair in reality, because the H9's been out for over a year. And right from the get-go, I do want to say that the timeline for Corsair getting stuff out is quite extended, and it's excessively extended, and it's something I've mentioned to them many times, and it's something I really do hope that they will work on, because if it takes, I know it takes them 2 years at the moment to get a product from kind of like the design stage out to the customers, and that's fine if you're 3 years ahead of everybody else, but if you're not, then you've got problems. So minor whinge about that, but I'm going to move it aside because there's something I do want to say, and it really dawned on me earlier when I caught the look of it like this with the mesh up and over the top, because I was straight away like going bad on the competition cases and it's too late, everybody's got theirs out already, yada yada yada. And then I realised that it actually looks from this angle quite a bit like the old 540X. And I did loads of stuff with the 540X, and I think the only thing that would have been different with the 540X when we do get round and have a look into the dual chamber thing, the 540X was two very separate panels all the way down the side. You didn't have the little side mesh bit here for a radiator and stuff. It's a bit smaller as well, but there are a lot of similarities with the 540X. I'm not sure if that was intended. I think this top and over bit must have been. So I'm going to come at this from this is a modernised 540X, rather than saying it looks like everything else. And that's just because I want to kind of make a happy and jolly video about it. Anyway, I'd normally put static hardware in all of my cases so that we can do very stringent thermals inside, because if we only change the hardware, then the thermals that they spit out would be, the only difference would be the cases. And it wasn't really possible with this because it doesn't come with any fans, and I didn't really want to be wiring in a million link fans, putting crappy hardware in it, which is what we use in the case stuff because it gets moved so much and I'm always breaking it. I'm actually not in reality. Anyway, so I've done a very pretty build instead, and I do think that if you're here for thermals, you're going to be disappointed because it's going to depend how many fans you put in. It's going to depend if you've got a glass panel on the front or not. If you do have the mesh, is it going to make any difference to your graphics card temps? Absolutely, but it's going to depend on what graphics card you got. So there's lots of little things where we can say ifs, ands or buts, and it's never ever going to be exactly scientific, so that's why I've gone, let's do pretty. But we are still doing a review because I'm still going to give you a look around, show you everything, and then we can weigh stuff up at the end. But you have been forewarned. So let's have a look at the newly modernised 540X. Yeah, I did say that just to wind them up as well. So before you ask, we have the Corsair Link fans. Don't ask me the exact model number, I can never remember. They've got too many fans and there's too many iterations. But anyway, Aorus 4080 Super Aero. Then we've got the Aorus Z790 Pro X, Dominator titanium, one of the H150 new Link ones in the roof, and then I have a Switch 1200 in the back. There's your hardware layout for you. There is an MP700 Pro PCI Express 5 NVMe in there as well. So that's your hardware layout, just so that if you're interested and you want to copy it, that is what I've done. So we always start at the top and at the front, and as you can see, we have a lit up power button here. Then we've got a combined headphone microphone, USB 3.2 Gen 2. Then we have 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1s. These are going to 2 separate ports. My board only has a slot for one of them. So if your motherboard has only got one of those fat USB 3 connectors, I'll try and point it out for you in a bit. You're going to need a splitter for this. Then you've got your reset switch here. While we are up the top though, you can see the many lots of mesh. And if I pull the roof panel off, you can see there is radiator mounts up there, or fan mounts, depending on what you want to do with it, for 120mm and 140mm fans. Now, there is only room for a 360mm radiator in the roof, or 2 140s, and technically, in total, we are talking about the ability to be able to fit 13 120s or 9 140s in total. Now I've moved the camera back. There is no ability for us to be able to fit a 420mm radiator in this anywhere. It's 360s if you want 3 fans, and that's just the way it is. Now with the panel off at the front, the mesh itself is actually quite fine, but then there is a dust filter on the inside as well. The computer has decided that it wants to go to sleep, so I might as well just pull that out. It has been sat here for quite a while I've been doing bits and bobs. Now this mesh panel here, if you buy this one and you get bored, then what you can do is you can take this off. There are a few screws around the outside, and you can take this off completely. You take the whole fan mount out, and what you can do is you can fit the glass panel on there instead, or vice versa. If you are having problems with temperatures, you can get the mesh panel and downgrade, upgrade, side grade, however you want to put it, but this doesn't have to stay this colour. One of the things I do want to say as well is the top, the front, and these 2 bits down the side can be changed. They are doing black metal version, silver, they've got some nice wood ones as well. And that's easy upgrade options where you can unbolt them and change the look of your case. But they come unbolted. So you could take them off and paint them if you wanted it a specific colour. If you do start yielding the paint, or you've got a friendly powder coater, people always say, Tom, we don't have a powder coater, we're not you. Literally Google one that's local to you, pick the phone up, talk them to them, because you can just send stuff in the post and get it done the colour that you want anyway. But the point I wanted to make is the feet come off as well. So if you paint these bits, paint the feet, and then you can have an extra bit of colour floating around your case. And I think that would be a really lovely thing. And I'm already eyeballing this for Candy Red. And it is a shame, because I think Corsair should have sent some of these upgrade packs out. They also do upgrades for like a vertical mount in the back. This one that's in here is just an aftermarket one, but you can have one that fits in the case as well. Sadly, again, didn't get one. Anyway, it's available. It's on the Corsair web store. I think they want me to say it. I think we've got a missed trick, because normally with Corsair, these would light up RGB, but where the case isn't RGB, it comes with no RGB whatsoever, this doesn't light up. And I feel like I wanted that to light up, but I kind of get why, because of the fact that the panels can be changed. But it could have had a panel behind it or something. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. Anyway, when we come round the back, 140mm possible mounted fan there. And a 120, they can be moved up and down, bit of meshing. This over here is a slot, so you can have hot swap for your 3.5 inch drives if you want. There's not a hot swap plane inside, but you'll see that you can get a plethora of storage in this section, and it does give you the air where it, like, there's a vent there. There's no fans in the back. So it's just going to be, you know, like normal radiated airflow. So it's nice, but at the same time, I don't kind of get why you would want to pull them out this way rather than on the inside. We'll get there in a bit. There's also this section here. And if I'm honest, I'm going to zoom you in so that you can see. There's no reference to this in the reviewer's manual at all. But it quite clearly looks like there's meant to be a USB there or a pass-through or something. And I am wondering why, how, what. There's also quite a few cable ties and stuff around the back to make things easier and nicer. And so let's face it, if you can clip down your USBs to keep things super tidy, I actually kind of like that. This I'm going to assume has something to do with the vertical mount. But we do need to remember the vertical mount, the one I've got in there, is an aftermarket one. So what I have done is I've cut these two tabs out. This is something that you are going to need to consider if you're going to butcher it like I have. This isn't how they want you to do it, because this whole panel in here can be removed and replaced with a vertical mount panel. It just doesn't come with it. It's a cost option. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity, if I'm honest. Because I think it probably, if it is just as thin and as base as it looks, if you have to buy it from the web shop, you're not going to buy a case and then wait for the web shop one to arrive. So it's a bit of a strange one. I do think this is a missed op here. Anyway, moving on. Round the back. And now, when we are round the back, the whole thing is this mesh. And I actually implore them for that, because sometimes you have that weird kind of strip here and it looks a bit off. But they have done it so that it's basically, it just all matches, and the whole thing's got dust filtering on it, and they've just done a really nice job of it, and I like it. Like, and you don't have to have this on. There's just, this is nice. This is kind of, it's almost like Corsair of old, where it looks like they are actually paying attention. The panel that's in here can be removed. So if you don't have this filled up with fans or anything like I haven't, you can remove it so that you can't see the mounts from the other side, and it kind of tidies the eye up. So I'm just going to rip it out so that when we're the other side, you get an idea of how it would be, but you obviously don't have to have it like this. And if you don't, then you're either going to have fans there or just be able to see the mounts. Loads of room for power supply. I've specifically used the switch in here, the shift, sorry. I always end up calling it the switch. Or is it the switch and I call it the shift? Oh, I'm just getting confused. Anyway, I've moved that in there to be able to show you the gaps between the power supply and the hard drive mounts up here, which, as I've said, you can put two 3.5 inches in up here, but you can obviously put two 2.5 inches in there as well, and then you've got another two mounts on the outside. This whole section can be removed if you want, and I thought I was going to have to use the side vent on the power supply, but it actually all fits in there kind of nicely and gives you somewhere to kind of tuck things and make it look tidier. I do think that we need some shorter cables if this was going to be my build. There are lots of cable tie downs in the back. It's also a pass-through, so you can use MSI 0 stuff or the BTF Acer stuff, basically rear-facing cable points. And there's those cutouts there. We'll talk more about that one on the other side. There's loads of room underneath down here for stashing. I also think there's loads of room under here to get creative as well, because you could have pumps built in here if you wanted for water coolings that you didn't have to see it. I reckon you could probably easily mount a reservoir in here and still be able to tuck cables round. Like, there's a lot of room in here. When I said to you before about the 540X, and I said that if it went right the way to the front, this whole section in the 540X came right the way forward. This panel here as well, there's a screw in down the bottom, and you can pop this panel out. So if you did want to put, let's say for argument's sake, you wanted to put a pump in the bottom or a reservoir, you could actually run the hoses through quite easily. I don't think I would end up doing it myself. I kind of like the fact it's a little bit more separate. It might also be a way for more air to be able to radiate up for hard drives. I don't think this is a case that you're going to buy if you've got hot 3.5 inch hard drives. I don't see it. Now what I am going to do is remove this panel, because like I said, I'm just going to leave it so it looks plain when we get on the other side of the case, so that you can get a feel for it. I think most of you are going to put fans there, but I haven't, so I'm just going to leave it so that you can see that it is kind of nice and tidy. And I've just realised I was zoomed in for loads of that, so I'm going to apologise if I've messed up, but you can see that down the side it's just kind of nice now, and it is going to allow airflow to come in. I've set mine up predominantly so that I have fans in the bottom blowing up, the ones in the roof blowing out, and then I've got the 2 extra ones in the front coming in and 1 going out the back. If I'm honest, I'd probably just run bottom and top and put a dust filter on the back. I've never been able to understand about not having dust filters on a case at all. Now while I'm here, what I do want to show you is something really, really cool, and it's a screw. And basically Corsair have put white capped screws in, but that's not actually the cool bit. So watch how quickly I get this screw out. Like, that was almost half a turn. And what they've done is they call them 1-turn screws. You can see there's hardly any barbs on it. And watch, when I put it into the fan, what? So hand on, we'll go a little bit, I need to zoom you out so that you can't see a bit better. So, fan screw in there, watch. You see how quick that was? Ready? Right, we'll do it out the other way. It is mad. Now, I'm going to zoom you in. I know I'm spending loads of time showing you a screw, but I actually think it's pretty cool. So, why not? So, let's have a look again. Ready? Screwdriver on. Out. In. Out. That's what she said. Anyway, right. So, it's about a turn, but it's just really quick. And I'm going to say it's really refreshing to be able to fit a fan, and then you're not spending like ages pushing and like twisting stuff in. Really nice touch, and they just come in the box. So I really liked that. Anyway, side panel. We need a bit of downwards facing, please, Thomas. Side panel. We have white edged around the back and the bottom and top. The panel is removable if you take the screw out, which I already have done. Not a tint on it, just works. Really nice. Then inside we have the ability to put 3 fans in the bottom, 3 fans in the top, 3 fans in the front, all 120s, or 2 140s, 2 140s, 2 140s. In the back is the only one where you can go 120 or 140. Then it's the same on the side one. It's 3 120s. I've already said it, but I'm just covering my bases. Now, graphics cards, you're going to be able to take monsters. This is a 4080S. I've also got it on a aftermarket vertical mount frame, which puts it in another 10-15 mil anyway, and it's swallowed it all up. Lovely. There's no problems with sizing. There's more than enough room for a 30 mil rad and a set of fans above the motherboard tray. You could go bigger, but the actual radiator isn't very well offset. And I actually think that's a bit of a missed opportunity on the top specifically, is I think they could have spaced it over quite a bit. Now I know they're going to say about the side panel bit on it and this here, but it's covers. We could have moved it over quite a bit. I am being pedantic because I think we're at a point now where we can call stuff okay, and it's really not going to matter. Now, because of the gap, 30 mil thick rad, single set of fans, easy peasy. But you can see there's still plenty of room above the motherboard there. You could probably get up to a 35, maybe a 40 mil thick radiator max before you're going to start causing problems with these sort of cables and stuff. You're just going to have to get creative with bending them. Now, in the front of the case, you can see there are grommets, and they go right the way to the top, and they also go right the way to the bottom, right past the graphics card down to the bottom. They are lovely, but because this does support BTF, something that I'm not a fan of at the moment, and I think the manufacturing needs to be stressed a little bit more, is the gaps. Like, this is an ugly gap. This is a normal spec ATX motherboard, and I can see down the side of it. I don't like it. I just don't. It needed to be moved over tighter to where the actual connectors are going to be. They're probably going to tell me there's a reason for it, but being able to see that makes my teeth itch, and it makes me feel that the motherboard doesn't fit the case. It'd be fine if it was eATX, but then you wouldn't be able to use it for BTF anyway. Anyway, so lots of grommets. They're only down the side, and there are some up the top here. There are none down the bottom of the actual motherboard tray. I don't think we're going to be able to go down low enough. Oh, we are, look. This one has got a section where it pokes downwards. These need grommets as well, in my opinion, but it obviously is just my opinion. There is a dust filter in the bottom that can be removed, as we can see, so it's all lovely, and that's about all we need to talk about for the case, other than me trying to, this section here, you can see that it's very separate. That's where the vertical would be removed, and you can replace it. I've just used an aftermarket one because Corsair didn't send one. So if you want that aftermarket one and you like the look of it, it's NZXT. Anyway, so that is our quick look around the case. Right, so conclusion. Obviously, thermals, as I've explained, it's going to depend on how many fans you put in it, where you put them. The majority of them don't come with them. I'd probably avoid buying the RGB one if it was me. I do think that if you end up buying this, just invest in Link early, because it is annoyingly easy. It's nice to use, and I do think we're going to be seeing a lot more of it in the future. Now, when I did look at this originally, like on the paperwork, I'll admit, even I got caught up with comparing it to the Lanley and the H9 from NZXT. And I think they're very, very strong competition. And I think Corsair are being really stressed at this point because I'm not being funny, it's so late. It would have been a nicer case if it was a year or 18 months ago. They're bringing it in with such strong competition, it makes their life so much harder. So that's why I said about Link, because it is a much nicer place to be than CAM. I still do not like NZXT CAM. Maybe it's personal preference. Maybe I'm hung up on how bad it was in the past. But Link now is so much better than it was. And I'm not saying that because this is a Corsair review. I said it in the NZXT review. Anyway, so I was hung up by that. But then I realised about the similarities with the 540X, which shows a bit of lineage. Rather than Corsair coming in and copying everyone else, you can kind of see where the design ethos is from the older case and it just being modernised. And in reality, it's only this side section here that's new. And I think having that down the side is a better place or better use of the space than it was on the 540 anyway. The fact that you can customise stuff, the fact that this doesn't have to stay mesh and is very easily swapped to glass is a very nice touch also. I think that's an air of Corsair old. This kind of feels a bit like George to me because it does feel like someone has thought, what happens if they don't want it how it comes out of the box? Will we be able to change it? You know, they've put some thought into it and it kind of shows. I hope that isn't the reason why it's taken so long to get here though. But it ended up, it did win me over. And okay, it caught up. I don't know why it was unfocusing, but I am running out of battery, so I need to be quick. It did end up winning me over. The 180 is slightly more expensive than the others, but it is built really well. And unlike the others, you do get the customization options to be able to pop things up, change. And the only thing I would moan about is I do think the vertical mount should have just come in the box. It's not that expensive of a part. And I do think with something like this, you are probably more than likely going to use it anyway. Sure, don't bundle the riser cable, but the rest of it, the bracket should have just been in there in the back. But overall, Corsair, I want that bracket so that I don't have to use this one. It's not that I don't want to use it, it's just I don't like the NZXT one where it covers half of the graphics card up. Yes, it supports the graphics card, but it impedes airflow, and I normally end up chopping them up. I would really like the glass panel as well, because I think being able to have shown that in a review was paramount. But the panels here, definitely think you should have sent some with it, because showing them online is cool, but being able to show it on different cases and different colours would have been really cool. But I do feel like these may end up having to get popped off, and Tom's going to do a Tom and do some fun stuff with it, because I like doing that with my stuff because I have to look at it so much. And you can do this yourself with a phone call and chuck some stuff in an envelope. So don't be afraid to go and find someone. Anyway, I do really like it. I don't know about an award. Could be just OC3D approved. I don't really know, if I'm honest, because I still am kind of mixed about it being so late. But it is a really good case. There's nothing wrong with it. There's lots and lots to like. I don't want to give it Performance Award. I don't want to give it Enthusiast Award. I don't think it's a gamer's choice. It's definitely not innovative enough. So there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just struggling where I need to put a badge on it. So an OC3D approved is our, well, yeah, it's all right. You know, yeah, go and have a look at it. So maybe, yes, it's that. Should it be considered? Yes. If you like Link, you want to upgrade to Link, definitely. But I'm going to leave you with it for now at least. You can see the lovely build that I've put inside it, and I actually really like it. The camera doesn't show it, but all the fans and everything are actually off-white with a teal, and I really like that combo on this. But I'm going to leave you with this because I don't know whether my eyes are going funny or whether we are having focus problems. But for now at least, this is the tiniest one with the Corsair 540X upgrade, or the 6500 out. Ding! Love you, sis.